because there are reports that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when
It was just past midnight when the news broke. Prince Harry had boarded a private jet headed straight for London. No public announcement, no scheduled appearance. Just the eerie silence of a royal return wrapped in secrecy.
Here's the story right here. Reported by The Express, Prince Harry loses family title as other royal steps into
The aircraft landed quietly at Heathrow under heavy security. No red carpet, no reception, and notably, no Meghan Markle by his side. Eyewitnesses say Harry looked tense as he exited the jet dressed in all black with his head down and jaw clenched. No smiles, no waves, only the piercing flash of paparazzi cameras catching his lone silhouette in the darkness. It wasn't a royal welcome. It was something else entirely. Something serious. The tabloids exploded within hours. Was this a planned visit? Had something happened to King Charles? Or worse, was Harry summoned? Sources close to the palace said this wasn't a typical family visit, nor was it Harry's idea. One insider described it as an emergency trip with strings attached. But the question echoed louder than ever. What could be so urgent, so dramatic that it forced Prince Harry to return to the very institution he spent years criticizing? Because what no one knew at the time was that Buckingham Palace had issued a private order just days before.
This fascinating reporting from Radar Online, and it's their British-based reporter Aaron Tinney, a tabloid veteran, who writes, Meghan Markle already preparing to go legal over fears Prince William will inevitably come for her Duchess title. And he writes, Meghan Markle is panicked and defiant.
A final warning, a brutal move, an ultimatum that could erase the last remaining traces of Harry's royal identity. And the consequences were already in motion. The phrase alone sent chills through royal circles. Permanent removal of privileges. It wasn't a leak, it was a deliberate move. According to sources close to Buckingham Palace, King Charles had quietly signed off on what insiders now call a strip order, a final blow to what little royal connection Prince Harry still had left. The order didn't come out of nowhere. Behind the polished palace walls, frustration had been brewing for months. Tensions exploded again after new media projects by Harry and Meghan reignited old wounds. Netflix specials, podcast whispers, and shadowy book deals that hinted at secrets the monarchy never wanted told. One royal aide reportedly described it as death by 1,000 headlines.
Do not use their names to make money. It's an honor to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when
Meghan have become the biggest threat to that brand in decades.
But she said she was in the trenches. She alludes to being in the trenches when she was in the British royal family. Girl, you lived in a castle. Like, you got a princess.
But this time, Charles wasn't waiting for another scandal to unfold. The monarch had made a decision, and it was harsh.
the long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH.
Meghan understands the stakes and she's ready to fight in court if it comes to that. Maybe if you understood the stakes, you shouldn't have spent all of your time calling the British royal family racist. Anyway, a friend of the couple said watching Andrew lose everything and become Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was a wake-up call. Meghan has taken it as a clear warning that no title is guaranteed. If anyone tries to take hers, she's not going to stay silent.
The so-called strip order targeted more than just symbolic roles. It threatened to revoke remaining honorary military titles, royal trust positions, and access to certain royal properties, privileges that had quietly lingered even after Harry's departure in 2020. This wasn't just a warning. It was the monarchy's version of a locked door. And behind that door stood Prince William, who, according to insiders, fully supported the decision.
Dude, Meghan and Harry are the worst.
The brothers hadn't spoken directly in months, and when the topic of cutting final ties came up during private meetings, William was allegedly firm and unshaken. This wasn't about punishing Harry, at least not on the surface.
A progressive new role within the royal family. While the royal family does modernize, I mean, the Queen sends tweets.
The palace saw it as preservation, cutting off a liability before it could do more damage. But for Harry, it felt like exile all over again. For those who followed the saga, this latest move from the palace wasn't a sudden storm. It was the latest lightning strike in a royal fire that's been smoldering for years. Back in early 2020, when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle first stepped back from their royal duties, the world watched a constitutional earthquake unfold. The press called it Megxit. The palace called it transition. But to Harry, it was something deeper. a break from an institution he believed never protected him nor the woman he loved. At first, the royal family tried to maintain appearances.
Monarchy means for the monarchy.
Well, people are talking about it being a constitutional crisis, and I'm not sure it is a constitutional crisis. I mean, through circumstance and the Cambridges having 3 children, Harry slipped down from being the spare.
Titles like His Royal Highness were quietly removed, yet Harry retained honorary military ranks, roles he cherished and earned through actual service. But that leniency came with a silent condition: stay quiet, stay respectful. He didn't. The release of Spare, Harry's tell-all memoir, tore through the royal facade like a blade through silk. Private conversations with Prince William were exposed. Deep grievances with King Charles were made public. Even Queen Camilla wasn't spared. The book was a bestseller and a battlefield. Each interview, each new revelation, chipped away at the already fragile trust between Harry and the crown, and behind closed doors, palace officials began reviewing what little formal ties Harry had left.
Render the least royal lodge leaves no doubt in my mind Harry and Meghan are next. The sun begins to set over Montecito permanently, and Prince William has...
Slowly, silently, the system prepared to tighten. Now, with the alleged strip order in motion, it's not just a symbolic gesture. It's a declaration Harry is no longer welcome, not as a prince, not as a soldier, and certainly not as a representative of the crown. And yet, even amid the fallout, one detail had everyone asking, why did he come back? When Prince Harry landed alone in the UK, the royal rumor mill kicked into overdrive. No Meghan Markle, no children, no explanation. Officially, the reason was vague: prior commitments in California, according to one spokesperson. But royal insiders told a different story, a much colder one. They claim Meghan wasn't just absent, she wasn't invited. Behind the scenes, the divide between the Duchess of Sussex and the royal family has grown into a chasm. Courtiers say Meghan's presence in past negotiations often derailed progress. Some describe her as unyielding, others as strategic. Either way, it was clear. This wasn't a situation where her attendance would help. If anything, it might make things worse. And the palace wanted this moment to be handled without cameras, drama, or defiance. One insider revealed that Charles specifically requested a one-on-one, just father and son. A final attempt to salvage something quietly before the public knew what was about to happen. But even that plan unraveled the moment Harry's flight touched down. Reports suggest Meghan wasn't pleased. While she remained in Montecito, she was allegedly kept out of key discussions. And though the couple has always insisted they operate as a unit, this time, Harry was on his own. A prince without a crown, walking straight into a kingdom that barely recognized him anymore. And when he stepped inside, he found that even the palace walls had grown cold. It wasn't a reunion, it was a reckoning.
All by Prince Harry attempting to try and sort of get himself back into the good books of us Brits, okay? Like, no.
When Prince Harry arrived at Clarence House, he was reportedly escorted to a private chamber. No press, no public schedule, no family members waiting, just King Charles, alone, waiting. Sources close to royal aides described the conversation as brief, sharp, and non-negotiable. The mood? Ice cold. One insider said it felt more like a CEO delivering a termination than a father speaking to a son. What was said exactly remains locked behind gilded doors, but leaks point to a devastating ultimatum. Return quietly, cooperate completely, or lose everything. Titles, properties, charities, even the remaining security privileges tied to his status. Charles allegedly made it clear there would be no more warnings, no second chances. And it wasn't just Charles standing firm. Behind him, Prince William had reportedly backed the move entirely. While publicly silent, William has grown increasingly frustrated with what he sees as repeated betrayals. From Oprah despair to the whispers of another documentary in production. Royal insiders claim William pushed for decisive action, fearing another media wave could do irreversible damage to the crown. To Harry, the message landed like a hammer. He hadn't returned for forgiveness, but he hadn't expected finality either. What he got was clarity. The family he once belonged to was now drawing permanent lines in stone. And perhaps the harshest truth of all, not a single royal aide offered to arrange accommodations. Not one palace door opened for the night. Not even Balmoral, The place where Diana once found peace was made available. For Harry, the message was unmistakable. You can return to the UK, but you may never come home. As the royal meeting ended, there was no royal motorcade waiting, no press release, no smiling departure. Prince Harry stepped out into the grey London air with the weight of silence pressing down on him. He wasn't invited to stay at Clarence House, nor at Kensington Palace. Not even Frogmore Cottage, the modest Windsor home that had once been his safe haven. That too had been reclaimed by the Crown months ago. Instead, Harry checked into a private hotel near Notting Hill under an alias. Paparazzi never got the shot. But insiders say he kept his head down the entire time, speaking to no one except a single aide from his personal team. No family dinners, no joint photos, not even a word from William or Kate. The palace issued no statement, neither confirming nor denying his presence. And that silence? It was intentional. According to royal watchers, the cold treatment wasn't just pettiness, it was protocol. By denying Harry official recognition during his visit, the palace was sending a crystal-clear message. He is no longer one of us. Behind the scenes, palace staff were allegedly told to avoid engagement. Courtiers who once addressed him as Your Royal Highness now referred to him only as Mr. Windsor. And even those who once served him personally were reassigned. The chill wasn't just in the air, it was institutional. And as news of the trip leaked to the press, royal sources refused to correct false headlines. They didn't deny the strip order. They didn't clarify the nature of his visit. They simply let the storm grow, knowing full well that Harry would face it alone. Because to the firm, there's one rule that's never broken. Once the crown closes the door, there is no knocking twice. To the public, it looked like another royal fallout. But inside Buckingham Palace, it was something far more calculated, a coordinated power move to tighten the monarchy's grip on its future. Since Queen Elizabeth's passing, King Charles has made one thing clear. The monarchy must be modernized and protected. No more scandals, no more unsanctioned memoirs, no more blurred lines between duty and drama. And Harry, once the spare, now the wild card, no longer fit the mold. For months, royal aides had been preparing a slow rebrand of the monarchy. Fewer senior royals in the spotlight. More visibility for William and Kate. Carefully curated appearances. Family-friendly photo ops. Quiet charity visits. The goal? Restore the crown's image after years of relentless media chaos. But Harry's lingering presence, his titles, his global platform, his unpredictability threatened that mission. So the palace struck first. The strip order wasn't just punishment, it was reclamation. A way to erase confusion, eliminate risk, and draw a sharp line between royal and ex-royal, between loyalty and liability. It also sent a signal to future generations. This is what happens when you defy the crown. Meanwhile, William and Kate's visibility surged. Fresh images of the couple visiting hospitals, engaging with school children, and standing firm beside King Charles filled the headlines. The message was loud and subtle at once. This is the face of the future, stable, obedient, and scandal-free. And just like that, Harry's narrative was being overwritten, his legacy reshaped without him. But if the palace thought Harry would stay quiet, they may have underestimated what was coming next. Prince Harry may have returned to the UK alone, but he didn't leave empty-handed. Insiders say that after the cold reception, the stripped privileges, and the deafening silence from his own family, something inside Harry shifted. And quietly, behind the walls of his luxury hotel suite, he began making calls. Sources close to Montecito suggest that Harry and Meghan are already planning their next media strike, a series even more raw, more revealing, and more personal than Spare. A close friend of the couple hinted that they've barely scratched the surface of what they're willing to share. And this time, there may be video. Rumors swirl about a new docuseries, one that paints a full picture of the institution's true face, unfiltered, unapologetic, and potentially damaging. Meghan is expected to play a major role, offering her side of the fallout, the family tensions, and the inner workings of royal life that the public never sees. If released, it could become the most talked about royal project since the Oprah interview, maybe bigger, and it may not stop there. Insiders say Harry is considering reactivating several of his legal avenues, challenging the palace's removal of certain rights, seeking protection for his children, and pushing back on the image being crafted without his consent. He's done playing the quiet exile. This is now a battle of legacies. The monarchy wants to erase the past. Harry wants to rewrite it. And in between stand millions of viewers, clinging to every leak, every headline, every hint of what might come next. Because this story, it's far from over. A secret flight, a father's ultimatum, a kingdom's cold shoulder. What began as a family feud has now exploded into a global drama with no clear ending in sight. And as the palace tightens its grip and Harry prepares to speak again, the world watches, wondering who truly holds the power now.